So today I'm going to show you how to set up a microphone using the microphone preferences. And if you notice as I speak above my head, because I have a working microphone, you'll see these green waves. And if I speak very loudly, occasionally what will happen is you'll see these green waves turn red. So that gives an indication of whether the microphone is set up to be too loud. If we see a lot of red, if most of the time I'm speaking we see red, if it's red more than half the time, or if it's red all the time, that would mean that my microphone is set too high. Mine is occasionally going into the red, so I may have a look at backing off that microphone volume a little bit. But first of all, what we want to do is see where we can adjust our microphone. And what we would do is first of all click on Me right at the top of the top left side of the viewer, and we'll get this drop down menu. And notice I'm just moving my mouse cursor over the items, and as I land on each one they turn green. When I get to Preferences, make it turn green, I'm going to click on it once with the left mouse button. So when I do that, I get a separate window over here, and it's called Preferences, and it might open with something else, say General or Graphics. What we want to select is Sound and Media. So I'm going to put my cursor on Sound and Media and then click once. And now I've opened up the Sound and Media Preferences window. So what we're interested in here is input and output devices. If you look towards the bottom of this Preferences window, there's a button, Input/Output Devices. I'm going to click that button. And now you see we get a couple of items here, one marked input, one marked output, and also a volume setting called My Volume. So first thing I want to do, and this applies if you haven't set up your microphone in Second Life before, you want to check that you're using the correct microphone, because you may have there are several options here. There's a default microphone in the system. For example, if you have a laptop, it may have a built-in microphone, but that may not be the one you want to use. You may be wearing a headset and you want to use it. So to select the correct microphone, we'll click on this button next to Input, and in my case I've got several options. I've got Default, I've got another microphone called Microphone Array. I've got the microphone for the headset. In my case it's called a Sennheiser USB headset. And then there's some other options here. And there's also No Device. If No Device was selected, you wouldn't hear anything because no microphone will be hooked up. So we have to make sure we want to click and select the microphone that we want to use. So we click on that Input button, and then I'll click my Sennheiser microphone. And now you see we have some activity here as I speak. We have green and occasional red showing. I'm going to move my volume down a little bit here, and because I was getting an occasional red over my head before. Now, before we finish with this window, I can also set my output, what speakers I'm using. In the same way, I can click Speakers, and again there's Default, and I've got a headset, so I'd like my headset speakers to be selected. But also I might have No Device selected there, in which case we wouldn't hear anything. So You've got a few options. It may be default is the one you want, or a default system device, or in my case I would like my headset speakers to be the ones that are active with the Second Life. So now I've selected my microphone, I've selected my speakers, and I've adjusted my volume a little bit here. Now you want to make sure that it's not all the way over to the right, or else what you might have is this is totally red all the time. It's showing red, going all the way over to the red, meaning the volume could be too distorted when it's heard by the other avatars. So I backed off my volume. Your volume may need to go into a different place than mine, but ideally what you would see is green most of the time, showing here, and the occasional red is okay. What you don't want to have is totally red all the time. So I'm now going to click OK to accept those settings, and now you see when I talk again, you can see over my head the green bars. I do have an occasional red showing, but what's not showing is it's totally red all the time. And the other thing you can do is check with other avatars when you've made your setting and ask, does this sound distorted? Does it seem okay? How does it sound to you? So you can get that opinion from other people too on what the setting is, and you can go back and adjust the volume accordingly to make sure basically that it's not distorted, but also that it's able to be heard. You don't want it too loud and you don't want it too soft. It needs to be heard by the other avatars as well. Okay, so that completes today's video on setting up the microphone.